It's time now for our Campaign Beat segment with Charles Pellegrin. And we begin with the possible attempted arson. That's how authorities are labeling it at this particular point in time, at the front door of the National Front headquarters in the west of Paris.
That's right. The ground floor of the building in central Paris, where the far-right party has its headquarters, was the target of attempted arson. The fire did not do any damage, and some graffiti was found close by, mentioning the Front National and the initials KLX. This happened overnight, and the firemen quickly extinguished the fire. A group called Combat contre la Xenophobia, or Fight Against Xenophobia, has claimed responsibility since. Well, this prompted Marine Le Pen, the candidate of the Front National at the presidential election, to criticize the government for not being tough enough on what she calls small leftist groups. She tied this back to incidents that happened during demonstrations against the labor reform law last year. Let's take a listen.
I suppose this is probably the work of a small leftist group. Those groups have been acting with impunity for several months. They're the same ones that destroyed shops, burned cars during demonstrations, the same ones who attack the police. Once again, I'm not surprised because French President François Hollande's government has for several months let them do these things, despite me asking several times for those groups to be disbanded. These small groups are very violent.
So both the government and the spokesperson of Lutte Ouvrière, one of the small communist parties participating in the presidential campaign, have condemned this attack.
All right, you heard it just a few minutes ago, the Venezuelan perspective on Jean-Luc Mélenchon, a bit down because of his sympathies towards the Bolivarian movements in Latin America. Mélenchon, who the latest polls suggest, again, is pulling even and is with the third place candidate so far, conservative François Fillon.
He's definitely in the top four and is a contender, as well as Macron, Fillon, and Le Pen, to go to the second round. While seeing the candidate of La France Insoumise, or Unsubmissive France, or Untamed France as a rough translation, seeing him surging in the polls has prompted Emmanuel Macron, Marine Le Pen, and François Fillon to criticize him as being a radical leftist, reminding people, as you said, of his admiration for people like the former Venezuelan president Hugo Chavez. So, at a rally held in Lille on Wednesday night, Jean-Luc Mélenchon doubled down and responded to the other three contenders in the presidential race by saying that he is the only one who truly has the interests of the French people at heart.
The question isn't about Pierre, Paul or Jacques. It's not about how we look or how attractive we are. It's about the policies we're going to put in place. If you elect one of those three, you'll be spitting blood. Look what they've set as their agenda already. The war against the poor.
The war against the poor, fighting words there. One of the candidates, we're sort of changing gears here, has been at the same time taking questions. Well, we had questions from school children. There was a television program about that. Now we have questions from pandas, I read?
Well, not from pandas directly. That would be the top story in the news today, I think. It's from the...
Talking pandas would be the top story.
It would be, I think so. Now, we're talking about Panda Live, quote unquote. It's a live Q&A on Facebook with an environmental expert and the general public, organized by the wildlife charity WWF, whose logo is a panda. Two of the main candidates, François Fillon and Marine Le Pen, declined the invitation. 5 others accepted. Well, today, the Socialist Party's nominee, Benoît Hamon, was in the hot seat. Well, the questions covered what he intends to do about things like the record global temperature as recorded last year and the number of species that are going extinct around the world. But our favorite question over on the political desk was which animal he would be. Mélenchon said he'd be an elephant. Macron said he would be an eagle from the Pyrenees Mountains in southwest France. But Benoît Hamon chose a goat. He explained that it was because he grew up in Africa, and there's a West African writer called Amadou Hampâté-Bâ who said, if you see a goat in front of a lion's den, it's the goat you should be afraid of. Well, on a more conventional note, Benoît Hamon is the Socialist Party candidate, but he's got the official endorsement of the Europe Ecologie Greens Party. Our team of reporters who are covering his campaign were in Lyon for his latest rally. They asked voters there if they think that environmental issues are getting enough coverage in this campaign.
No, for me, there's no candidate that's more green than any other. No, none of them.
For me, it's the one most important subject. One of our leading environmentalists in French politics is Nicolas Hulot, and he isn't backing any of the candidates because none of them are really standing out as green.
For me, Mélenchon speaks about it very well, and I think he's doing enough.
I think there are new jobs in the environmental sector that are starting to develop. It would be good if there was more promotion of that for our young people, so that they are up for those jobs and help preserve our beautiful planet.
That little problem of global warming, I haven't heard much about it.
So yeah, mixed reception about how environmental concerns are taken into account in this campaign.
I'm still digesting Benoît Hamon choosing the goat as his...
Definitely the hipster's choice, I think. He took everyone by surprise there.
Okay, Charles-Pellegrin, many thanks. By the way, if you are wondering, and if you're not French, how you would vote if you were in this election, well, we have just the thing. It's called the Vote Compass. It's on our website, france24.com. And Charles, I clicked on it this morning. It's quite thorough.
It's very thorough. So just to remind people, this is a tool developed by France 24 in partnership with Vox Pop Labs. It calculates how your political views compare with those of the French presidential candidates. It takes into account a lot of different variables and is very detailed. It's well worth taking a look at. You might be surprised with what you find, actually. It's that detailed that it gets to surprising.
Were you surprised?
Not by my top choice, but my second one I was, yes.
Okay. Charles-Pellegrin, many thanks. We'll have, of course, tomorrow more in Campaign Beat, and you can find more on our website, france24.com. Stay with us. There's more news, plus the day's business and sports.